United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Joyce.
Board Member Drake. Here. Board Member Neisel. Board Member Steen.
Here.
Board Member Van Blarkum. Here. Supervisor DeSclafani.
Here. Make a motion to accept last month's minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This month's resolutions focus mainly on summer recreation and EV charging station funding. We'll have $10,000 from NYSERDA. Ulster County will fund 50% of the whole project. We may create 3 stations, one for Phoenicia near the medic station, one at the Pine Hill parking lot, and one here at Town Hall. We still have to put them out for bid, but the CAC has done their own bidding. They talked to 3 or 4 different charging station companies and got basically the best price, working on exact prices right now. We'll also do a resolution for a request for bids for Glenbrook Park again. With our $125,000 grant, we hope to have a nice renovation there. We'll add some of our own ARPA money to that too. We still have the Town Hall Complex relocation study to look over, and the folks at AWSMP are willing to asking us to help navigate what is offered. We can gather together at the safari meeting, at our next safari meeting on July 18th, on Zoom or in person at the Shandaken office. I'll put out a link for everybody and anybody who wants to join us. Our next regular meeting is August 5th. Supervisor's financial report. Ambulance fees, $9,490.67. Cell tower rentals, $2,526.62. Higley, $104.22. Police fees, $15. Mortgage tax, $46,573.40. Justice fees, $13,512.06. Phoenicia water rents, $11,500. Pine Hill water rents, $10,500. AWSMP Cornell Cooperative, $957.50. Health insurance for Patty Miranda, $245.68. Interest on general accounts, $9,840.27. Interest on lighting accounts, $6.39. Interest on watershed account, $570.88. Nothing from the highway. Total of $105,842.69. Communications, Joyce?
Besides all the events going on, which are listed on our website and Facebook, and I'm sure Sam's going to mention the big 4th of July things going on. See? So the one big announcement, a lot of people have called, they wanted to know if the DMV bus was going to be here this Friday, and I verified it today. Yes, it will be here this Friday, 10 to 1, 2 to 3. And that's it. It's the first Fridays of the month, and that's it.
Thanks, Joyce.
Thank you.
So we got a couple of proposals in from Summer Rec. One was to have a Facebook page. Everybody seemed on board with that.
Yeah,
I don't see a problem with it. It's a good way of communication.
Sure.
Either Joyce or I will be on the thread, so it won't go crazy like sometimes Facebook does. Another proposal was for including non-residents, people in the Monteora district, I guess. Is that something we want to propose? Obviously, for a price. Manny and Raven were suggesting $50. I think it should be a minimum of $100 for somebody out of town. Or if we want to do it at all, I don't even know if we want to open it up to out-of-towners. We generally do, what, about between 80 and 100, 105 people. I mean, the more kids we have, then the more counselors we'll need, and it's going to cost us more in travel. And this wouldn't include the the trips either, that would be the added amount for trips.
Yeah, it sounds like we need some more numbers of how many people we're talking about. If it's, we already have bids for transportation, we're gonna need another bus. Are
Right.
we gonna need more counselors? I'd like to know a couple more
Well, we could
numbers before
even
we said
limit
yes or
it, though.
no.
We could just limit it right off the bat to 20 people.
Yeah, we could. We could.
Mandy's made this
What does
recommendation
that mean?
before
Yeah.
for a couple of years, and obviously she's been running the program for quite some time too.
Yeah, I think it's well thought out. I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
it's just
if
off the cuff.
she's thinks that this is viable, then I'm sure I have much of a reason to think otherwise. But
No, I think it's fine as long as we have the counselors to accommodate the extra.
Right.
So I don't know how many people have inquired yet, if we could get that number though.
Yeah, and I don't think it's been all that many. I think it's less than 10 who've inquired. And,
I would find out from Manny how many more she can accommodate. And
Okay.
how many people are registered already.
Yeah.
right, and, obviously,
I'm personally okay with the $50.
she'll put a max on it. She doesn't want to overtax herself or our community.
I'm fine with the $50 as well, and as long
I
as
think
she
that's
can
good.
accommodate the number of people that she's interested in. I mean,
Well, I still think it's a little bit more special than $50 to come in from out of town, and it's a big give.
So what does the
We're
money
giving.
go towards?
It goes towards paying for the counselors and paying for transportation.
But if we,
I mean, the trips they would still have to do themselves.
The
and
trips they would still have to
If I read this
add on to.
correctly, they would not be the beneficiary of the busing in quite the same way that
Well, they would have to get to one of our bus stops. If they're coming from the south end of town, they would want to connect to a Mount Trumper or the Phoenicia bus stop. As it gets there, we're not going to do an additional bus stop.
right.
yeah, I'm good with the 50. And I'm okay with this, like we said, as long as the numbers, like Kevin said, as long as we have the counselors to accommodate it and
Yep.
the bus seats, and
I just don't think, even if it's 200 kids, obviously it's $2,000 or whatever, but how many kids are actually inquiring versus this just being a nice thing that we offer? I'm not sure that making it $100 discouraging more kids if they live in Fleischman's or Olive or whatever. Yeah, I mean, $100, sure, but $50 seems like a nice number, especially coming from the camp director.
Yeah.
It seems like a good recommendation.
Quite generous.
It's camp.
Yeah,
it's for the kids,
she's put a lot of time into her proposal.
Absolutely. I'm no two ways about that, for sure. I think she was trying to be generous because knowing that we didn't like to put a number on it, we didn't want to charge our people, our residents. Doesn't mean we can't charge the out-of-town residents who,
Absolutely.
frankly,
If there
who
is-
go to Woodstock or Olive and spend a couple $100s to be members.
Absolutely. I think if it's gonna, like the argument is it's gonna allow us to provide a free camp for local residents, I can get behind that argument.
Right.
So is that the argument? Or am I making that argument now?
Well, it's.
Sure,
it's
I'll do
helping.
$100. There you
It's paying for stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And they're not
Well,
residents.
cap it at 20 kids, make it $100, see how it works, and we can always lower it next year.
Okay, yep. You guys up for that?
I like 50, but
They're not residents.
I understand. Yeah.
Kyle makes a convincing argument, I'm back to 50.
Like,
I don't think it matters. I think the director made a $50 recommendation, that's probably the one we should go with.
that's my position.
Okay,
Is that she
all
made
right.
the recommendation and
50 it is.
see no reason to.
20 max.
The counselors are already paid for, right? The bus is already paid for, right?
You gotta hire them.
Well, not technically, I guess.
20 minutes
yeah.
from now, maybe.
Right, 20 minutes from now. If we have to hire more counselors just to accommodate these people coming in, well, then-
Different world. But
Right,
and we can always change it, like you just said, we could always change it down the road, right?
right.
There you go.
she did mention, we do need 2 more counselors, so if anybody's listening and they have a child that would like to be a counselor, call the town hall.
Please.
Or an adult that wants to be a counselor. We could take adults, that'd be better. That would be great.
And I would like to mention before we get in further, I'd like to have an executive session towards the end of the meeting, personnel issue. Okay, let's do some committee reports. Ambulance,
Ambulance, I have that.
Kyle?
June 2024 report. Total calls received, 34. Mutual aid given, 5. All at first aid unit. Mutual aid received, 3. Multiple calls in the district. Total May reports, 34 reports. Total transports, 26. Total no transport standby relocations, 8. The summer is in full swing in our town. There's plenty of things to do over the weekends, and with the heat of July and August approaching, be sure to properly hydrate every day. Most every person is walking around dehydrated to a certain extent, and outdoor activities in the heat increase the susceptibility of dehydration, or even worse, heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Over the past decade, there have been many times when the ambulance personnel have had to break lines in the town July 4th parade to treat individuals that have been exhibiting signs of the aforementionable maladies. Be sure to continually check on children and the elderly, as they are more susceptible to these issues. You wouldn't drive your car around with an empty radiator. Don't do it to your body. There's I'm just going to show you, if everyone has maybe the camera, a nice little graphic there stating heat exhaustion. Okay. Stay cool and safe.
You're red
Richard
and hot.
Mullally, EMTP, Chief of Department, Town of Shandaken Ambulance Service. I just want to say the ball is rolling for getting the timekeeping process going. We are in communication.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome.
Building zoning.
From Donna, 12 certificates of compliance, 3 certificates of occupancy, 20 building permits, 2 floodplain permits, 1 demo permit, 2 alarm permits. From Alan Harmon, a total of 8 inspections and 17 other site visits.
Thank you, Robert. Police.
A total of 185 incidents, 7 arrests. It should be noted that our police contract is up this year. The supervisor and myself will be entering negotiations this coming week, and hopefully that's squared away by November.
Thank you, Kevin. Phoenicia Water, Pine Hill Water, Museum, Joe.
Shandaken Historical Museum Monthly Report for June 2024. In early June, the museum board prepared for upcoming summer events. On Saturday, June 8th, the Phoenicia Elementary School held their closing celebration, the Phoenicia Farewell Fair, which included a large photo montage presented by the museum to celebrate the 60-year history of the school, made from yearbook images and various highlights of attending Phoenicia Elementary School. After the fair, a number of items from the school archives were donated to the museum's collection. Also on June 8th, the museum participated in the Great Outdoors Expo held at Catskills Visitor Center in Mount Tremper. The museum table at the expo had hundreds of visitors with their families. Many bought books, gave donations, and played a Shandaken trivia game. We are currently planning to take part in some of the farmers markets in Phoenicia, using our traveling museum table to better establish an active presence in the community. The museum is continuing with its reorganization and inventory projects, along with adding new exhibits to the museum. On June 14th, the museum hosted a drum circle event led by noted author Evan Pritchard, along with members from the Big Indian Native American Cultural Center, who joined in with lively drumming and singing. It was attended by over a dozen participants. There were 32 visitors in June visiting the museum from the West Coast, New York City, New Jersey, Europe, and Australia. Many leaving donations and grateful messages as they sign the registry. Respectfully submitted, Joseph Freeboy, Museum Director. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Sam?
Hi. So at our last meeting, we discussed ways to fix the gaps in the bottom of the dog park fence so that dogs aren't getting out, as well as closing up the inside gate between the smaller fencing area and the larger one so that only mowing can be accessed that way because there's an outside entrance anyway to that section. We chose a location for the new shade structure that we had purchased with the help of some of the people that use the dog park, local residents, so they helped us figure out where the best spot for that was. We also had Steve White there from the highway department. He does a lot of the maintenance of the parks, so we figured it would be good to have him to be on the same page and understand that things won't be in his way, or if he can help us with some of the projects that we do ask the highway department to help us with, so we appreciate him coming to that. We submitted a budget and an outline for our Glenbrook project to a potential fiscal sponsor, and we're hoping to hear back tomorrow. Babs and Autumn met with Emma Cohen, she's the Director of Strategic Initiatives under Senator Hinchy, about the CREST funding, which is the Community Resiliency, Economic Stability, and Technology Program. That would be an application for Glenbrook as well, specifically the playground. The CREST funding is for capital improvements dispersed by way of reimbursement and has subsequent steps involving Dormitory Authority as the administering agency, state agency. The budget for the playground was included for Emma, and her team is going to review that and get back to us. Peter, you're putting together the RFP for DEC grant. I guess I looked in the resolutions, you'll be mentioning that. And for the pavilion and bathroom renovation and repairs. I think you and Babs had a conversation in email. She was hoping that in that RFP that there would be removing the word single vendor for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's just wondering if we can make sure that that's removed.
Okay.
I don't really.
Yeah, before I put it all together, I want to touch base with Ellie. I thought she was going to be here tonight, just talk about some different lighting options. And,
Yep. The funding for the grant will be released in August to help start that project. And you're going to meet with the Smart Growth Grant Coordinator tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll discuss some requirements and paperwork. The new flag and flagpole lighting has been installed in Glenbrook. A new flag's been ordered for a big Indian park and will be installed when received. Parish Field Wi-Fi has been replaced, and MTC's been working with some minor improvements for the farmers market that he's been talking to Sophie about. I think that's been resolved. Great. So we thank them for their continued partnership. The Friday pop-up skate park finished in Glenbrook for now, and it'll be at the 4th of July Bazaar and the Phoenician Farmers Market on Sunday. Our next meeting, we're trying to determine if it's the 16th or the 17th of July, Joyce, but the second I know, I'll let you know.
Okay.
That's it for park stuff, but yeah, I have a couple of flyers for the 4th of July parade and the bazaar. If anyone still wants to be a participant, please let us know as soon as possible. Our contact information is on the flyers. I also have a flyer for the Phoenicia Rotary Duck Race coming up the last Sunday of the month, the 28th. And the barbecue for our American Legion Auxiliary is Saturday, the 20th.
Thanks, Sam. Sophie.
So we had to cancel our May housing meeting, but the June one was great. We met with Home Share Woodstock, so someone that's on their board and someone that's their volunteer coordinator. Learned all about what actually doing that program entails, and how we could kind of piggyback on a lot of their efforts. And one thing I didn't know is home share programs are very few and far between. There's only like 10 in the United States. So the fact that there's one in Woodstock is pretty special. And rather than duplicating efforts that seem really vast and complicated, we can sort of position ourselves to be an area where they can help service by kind of doing more like pre-screening of potential home providers and home seekers, because this is a matchmaking program. It's not emergency housing, it's really long-term, like putting people together in a series of interviews and meetings and trial periods. But we had Patricia Ruane with us at that meeting from Catskill Neighbors, because she's really like one of those frontline community organizations that's working with a lot of people who could potentially be home providers. So yeah, if you want to learn more about that program, you should visit homesharewoodstock.com. They're a program of Family of Woodstock, but it is our intention to bring together some key people who are already maybe like out there working with people who either need homes or are seeking homes. But the program is really lacking in, as you can imagine, home providers. So our hope is, if there are people out this way who were previously not part of the very tight radius around Woodstock that was initially set with that program, that they should know that home providers in Shandaken can be part of this program, and they can contact me or they can contact HomeShare directly. But that'll be an ongoing thing that we talk about a lot. One thing, well, we're excited to work on the comp plan with other committees and patterns and the board. And we filled out their questionnaire to put them in touch with the PBA as one other stakeholder that they might want to meet with. A couple other just like questions and items on our list are to talk to Grace Grant and really get a very clear list of what are the barriers right now to someone building an ADU on their property, and how can we take those barriers and minimize them like other municipalities have done, so that we can, again, like alleviate this immediate need that we have for housing. So there seems to be very specific, zoning and other regulations that would prevent someone from being able to convert their garage or build a small studio on their property, and we want to figure out what exactly those are so that we can find candidates that want to build an ADU and encourage them to do so, and find programs that'll help fund it. Those are accessory dwelling units. I wanted to see about setting a time. How far are we on the 6-month moratorium for the STR law?
Ends today.
Today.
Well, yesterday.
So can we have a meeting to talk about what has been done in this 6-month period and figure out what the next phase of the STR law, what your plans are for it, or what the rest of the vision is, or what, is there a new cap, for instance? Like, what's the new limit, or?
Well, we're still at the cap. I think we were, when I talked to Joyce today or last week, it was at 149. Mm-hmm. That's the amount of non-resident
and what about total,
licenses.
though? Total number?
Total number is down because the resident ones have gone down from 60 and we're now at around 45.
Okay.
So totally we're down. I think a lot of residents have turned their STRs into long-term again. I have looked around personally at the town, looking at the town level, how many rental units are available. There seems to be 4 in the Phoenicia area, 4 or 5 in the Phoenicia area, around 10 or 11 in Mount Tremper. And I didn't get any data for the western part, Shandaken, Big Indian, Pine Hill. So I don't know if
long-term or-
long-term
okay.
apartments, yeah,
Yeah.
not STRs.
Right.
So there's more opening, at least down at that end of town.
Yeah. Do you know what price, if they are affordable?
Well, they're none of them are.
Yeah.
They get 1,200, 1,400.
Right.
But the lowest one I think was 1,200 for a 1-bedroom.
Right.
But then there are houses also that are available, 3,000 a month, crazy.
Okay. Well, we'd like to revisit that whole conversation again
Yeah,
and find
yeah.
another time that we can meet. I don't know if you've been utilizing the Granicus platform or,
I asked Grace to utilize it and use it as far as she could. We haven't sat down and put our heads together and looked at it.
okay. 'Cause it
But
seems
yeah,
like
we
the-
should put together a workshop and see if we want to talk about it at some point.
I just want to keep it going. Like, I don't want it to sit another year before we revisit. I think we can be more proactive and.
Do you have
I
an
know-
agenda set for your next meeting? Is it something where we can get together there?
Maybe right now we have the Pine Hill Wellington coming to the next meeting, but it is something that we want to just keep on the radar and make sure we're, so.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
that's a time.
if not
our
this
next meeting is
month.
July 22nd.
Okay. Do you
at
guys
7
want
p.m.
to do something on her next meeting?
Sure, that works for me. I don't want to steamroll your agenda though.
We were gonna have a presentation, but it sounds like Jan might be flexible. Okay, yeah, then we can just revisit some of the other bullet points of what we kind of initially put out there, what the home
And none of
short-term-
us were talking so much, I mean, we all like the idea of reducing the cap, but none of us really want to kick somebody off either.
No, but I think there are things about the resident, non-resident that, depending on what is and isn't legal, like we want to advocate for there not being like multiple owners in the town, having multiple STRs and
Right,
multiple
right,
LLCs.
right.
And I know that there's loopholes that exist that are hard to get around for us.
Right, and we have discussed all, and I'm not trying to downplay what you're suggesting and what you're thinking, but I mean, it has come through a lot of meetings, and we discussed all those variables of, only allowing one person to have one STR or two STRs, and then if they get different, LLCs, we don't know who's got one and who's got two, who's got more than two. It's more
We
difficult.
know that there's bigger problems.
We know.
than just
We
one
know
or
there are
two.
some of them who
Yeah.
have more than a
We just
few.
want to keep being part of that conversation, so when and if you have more discussions or things coming up. like, we
And
wanna-
we'll talk about it at that Monday,
It sounds like it.
for 3 weeks from today.
Yes. And then, I guess the only other like thing under the surface or whatever, ongoing, is just seeing if we are at a point where we can talk to the Sharp Committee again, of just understanding where they're at, what activity are they doing these days, if any, and how can we reinvigorate if they are willing to have more members of their board. So I don't know if you've spoken to them recently, but how can
A
we-
few months ago, and Jane was very interested in bringing in somebody, but Jane's not a member, but,
Well, with the actual members.
right. So I think there's room to bring one or two other people into their
Well, are
board.
you in touch with them? Can you communicate
Yeah.
with them once more
Yes.
that like there are
Yes.
people in town that have capacity,
I
have
will
experience? and-
reinvigorate that conversation.
Okay, because if there's any activity or funding available, there are properties we want to see purchased or converted or renovated.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if there was an organization under
I mean,
which to do that.
they do low interest loans. They're still open doing loans for renovations, window replacements, a roof and that kind of thing. They have a fund that is monitored by they and the town, and it's for that purpose.
Okay, how do people get in touch with them?
Yeah, call Rich Lovelace or Jane Todd. The best way is to do that.
Okay.
And I'll get you their numbers later.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it for right now. We, we meet on the fourth Mondays at 7 o'clock, and that's right here.
So I'll make a motion that we have a workshop meeting on that same Monday with the Housing Smart Committee.
Yeah.
Will that be prior to the meeting then?
Yeah,
It'll be
Workshop?
at the meeting.
Okay. Do you want it to be at 6 or 7?
What time is your meeting normal?
Usually at 7.
Do you want to do it at 6?
Well, if we do ours at 6, then you can still have your presentation, right? Yeah, so let's do that.
Or 6:30?
Either one.
Let's do 6:30.
Okay, great. So July 22nd at 6:30. And if anyone needs to
All in
reach us-
favor? Aye.
Great, thank you. And yeah, shandakenhousing@gmail.com, so you
Okay.
can get in touch with us.
Thank you, Sophie. CAC stuff. Beth?
Good evening. I'm Beth Waterman from the CAC, and our member Maya Lilly is here also. We have been working on our 3 NYSERDA campaigns so that if residents purchase an electric vehicle, install a heat pump or geothermal or a hot water heat pump, or if they sign up for community solar, this credits the town. And we have already had 5 EVs, so we've applied for $5,000 for that. We've had 5 heat pumps, so we have applied for $5 more thousand dollars. And then if we get an additional 10, we continue to, rake in the rewards. So this money has been used to do other green projects in town, the money from NYSERDA. The first $5,000 that we got was used to buy electric lawn equipment for the town to use. I think they bought 3 electric chainsaws, a pole saw, a leaf blower, and some extra batteries and chargers, possibly something else. So it's all for a good cause, and we appreciate everyone's participating in this. In addition, we are partnering with the Phoenicia Farmers Market and Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency to distribute free tiffins to residents in the town on Sunday, July 14th at the Farmers Market from 10 to 2. And a tiffin is a reusable stainless steel container that is useful for takeout at restaurants. If you don't finish your food, you can take some home. If you want to order a takeout meal, you can put it in the tiffin to bring it home. This cuts down on the consumer waste of the so-called recyclable containers that are not very recyclable and that contain some noxious chemicals. So everyone will get one of these free who comes that day, but you have to register. That's part of their requirement for their grant that purchased the, the individual tiffins. So it's on our website. Joyce has posted it on the Shandaken website. It's on the Ulster County website, and it's a great opportunity for all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
How big are they, Beth? How big is the thing? You say?
I'm not sure.
I think it's like this shape, and then like this thick.
Oh, it's a big
Good
one.
for takeout.
It's like, sometimes they're stacked, but they're just doing a single level.
So Augie's Food and Fitness?
Yeah.
And it has a seal, so it's waterproof.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we got it, yeah.
Yeah. Better than plastic.
Anything on the comp plan?
I wasn't at the Saturday meeting because it was a miscommunication.
So on a comp plan, their next meeting is next week. They are getting together with both the planning board and the ZBA and Patterns for a joint kind of powwow. That's that. All right. Public comments on resolutions. All right, let's start.
Resolution 9524, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control require town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming to the town for payment to number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. General, $314,176.40. Highway, $133,493.62. Phoenicia Water, $14,960.44. Pine Hill Water, $4,691.60. Phoenicia Lights, $1,673.54. Chichester Lights, $119.82. Pine Hill Lights, $926.91. Shandaken Septic Sewer Maintenance District, $39,750. And the Heritage account, $2,786.37 for a total of $512,578.60, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes. Resolution 9624, resolution to hire summer camp personnel. Whereas under Section 20, notes in Decision 9 of Town Law, the Town Board shall appoint all employees of the town. Therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Shandaken, that upon a recommendation of the Director of the Town of Shandaken Summer Recreation Program, hire the following individuals as summer recreation camp staff. Senior counselors, Kathleen Fitzsimmons, Jake Story, Mercedes Story, at $15.75 an hour. Returning counselors, Hudson Turba, Duxan Guy, and at $15.25. First year counselors, Tyrone Fearon, Milo Turba, Austin or Auden? Fathom.
Austin. I think I know how to spell his name.
$15 an hour. Assistant Director Raven Ryan, $1,300 biweekly. Please be advised that all paid counselors shall receive 4 hours compensatory pay for mandatory orientation as required under state law, and I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes.
For the next one, I believe we have a bid that needs to be opened.
Yeah, so there's 2 resolutions, so we're just gonna, there's only 2 companies that bid. So we'll open them, and then you could do both resolutions at one time.
Well, this one awards the bid. I assume.
This is for, well, I don't know what they bid, so I gotta open both of them. Oh dear God, they sealed it really well. So the first one is from First Student, 3146 State Route 28, Shokan, New York, 12481. So they did a bid for both. So I'll give the bid for the field trips. Okay, so July 31st, field trip to the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey. We need 2 buses, so it'd be $1,250 per bus, so it's $2,500 total. And the August 14th field trip to Zoom Flume is $750 for a school bus with a $1,500 total. Okay? And
The amount is per bus or per trip? When it's $750.
per trip, so it's $2,500 for the field trip to New Jersey and $1,500 for the field trip to Zoom Flume in Durham. Okay, so the next one is from Tonchi Transit.
I thought they weren't going to bid.
This is the field trips.
Oh.
5181 Route 28 Mount Tremper, 12457. And for the field trips, Jesus God. Total price for both trips, $5,800.
First student gets it.
Yep.
Resolution 97-24, resolution awarding transportation bid for summer recreation program field trips. Whereas the town of Shandaken Summer Recreation Program will be taking 2 field trips during the coming season, and whereas the town advertised to receive bids for the following field trips: 2 buses for round trip to and from Liberty Science Center, New Jersey on July 31st, 2 school buses for round trip to and from Zoom Flume, Durham, New York on, July 31st, and then August 14th. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board award the transportation bid to First Student and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes.
So the second one was for the daily transport, and we had 1 bid, and that was First Student. Tonchi wasn't able to do it. So let's see what they said. They are, it's a little cheaper than last year, I think. $339 per day.
$339 a
It was
day.
$399 last year, I
And
believe.
it's how many days?
I think it was 16 or
16
something.
days.
16.
Minus the 2, was it 4?
So 16 on the
16 days, yeah.
Okay, well, they're the only ones, so they
Yeah.
get bid, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Resolution number 9824, resolution awarding transportation bid for summer recreation daily transportation. Whereas the town of Shandaken summer recreation program runs from Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 through and including Friday, what's that?
2024.
2024, right? Through and including Friday, August 11th, 2024, whereas transportation is needed from Mount Shumpert to Bel Air Beach and back later in the afternoons, 3 days each week except the 2 days of field trips, total needed 16 days. Therefore be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to enter into agreement with First Student Transportation at $339 per day in order to provide said transportation for those dates and programs, participants, and employees, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Supervisor Discipline?
Yes.
Resolution 9924, highway equipment purchase. Whereas the town of Shandaken Highway Department has identified the need for a mini excavator, therefore be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board approves the purchase of a 2024 Hyundai HX85 excavator using the Sourcewell procurement contract 032119-HCE not to exceed the cost of $120,000 and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Supervisor Discipline?
Yes. Resolution 124, commit ARPA funds for electric vehicle charging stations. Whereas the Town of Shandaken Conservation Advisory Council has recommended the town board install electric vehicle charging stations in Phoenicia, Pine Hill, and Town Hall. Whereas the Town of Shandaken, at the request of the CAC, has applied for a $10,000 EV charging station grant, and whereas Ulster County will match 50% of all funds spent on EV charging stations. Therefore, the Town of Shandaken commits up to $20,000 from the town ARPA funds to be appropriated for electric vehicle charging stations and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Supervisor Discipline?
Yes.
Resolution 101-24, advertising for bids for repairs at Glenbrook Park. Whereas the town of Shandaken owns Glenbrook Park, located at 48 State Road 42, whereas Glenbrook Park Pavilion is in need of repair, which includes, but is not limited to, the roof. Whereas the grill area, as well as bathrooms, are also in need of repair, whereas the town has ARPA funds available to assist in this repair. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board hereby advertise for bids to repair Glenbrook Pavilion and bathrooms, and that any interested individuals or corporations who wish to bid on this repair may schedule an appointment to inspect the area or may inspect on their own. Email for additional information supervisorshandaken@gmail.com, and that any bid for the repairs be submitted along with a minimum of 3 references to the Town of Shandaken Town Clerk's office located at 7209 Route 28, P.O. Box 67, Shandaken, New York 12480, no later than 3 p.m. on Tuesday, September 9th, 2024. It must be in sealed envelopes clearly marked on the exterior of the envelope in large black letters, Glenbrook bid, with said bids to be opened and read aloud at the regularly scheduled town board meeting that evening at 7 p.m. and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Supervisor Discipline?
Yes.
Resolution number 102-24, ambulance hire personnel. Whereas, under section 20 of the town law, the town board shall designate all appointed officers and employees of the town. Therefore, be it resolved that the following personnel be appointed as a new hire: Peter Murphy as a driver at $15.17 per hour, and Jason Kreisberg from driver to EMT at $16.31 per hour, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Supervisor Discipline?
Yes. Open public comment, and after which we're going to go into executive session.
So from the farmer's market side of things, I don't know if you all saw that we got hit with a mega storm yesterday that ripped down 214 and came right through the market. It was devastating and scary, and thankfully everybody was okay. But the whole reason we have insurance is because pop-up tents could literally kill you. And those were flipping and flying all over the place. So just want to thank everyone who was there, who was calm and collected, and grateful that wasn't any serious injury or damage, but it was
It was mostly the tents, right, that just flipped over.
tents, products,
tables, everything
Samantha
went.
was there. We
Everything
have
flew.
video and photos on our social media if you're, curious to gawk at the devastation. But,
Madness and mayhem.
it was hundreds, if not a couple $1,000s of damage for the market, for our vendors. We are seeking some donations for those who are in a position to give. On our website, there's a donate tab. We don't expect tents to last for years and years. It's kind of an annual purchase when you're using them as much as we are, but you usually budget to buy one set a season, not two.
Yeah.
So if anyone feels like they love the market so much they want to help, any funds that we raise, we're also sharing with our vendors who lost tents. So there were between 10 and 12 completely totaled pop-up tents. Not to mention like a few vendors who got their products wet that aren't supposed to get wet. So it was kind of intense. We did call 911. Thankfully, because no one was injured, they never showed up, but it was something we were just trying to alert the surrounding emergency services that there was this event. I'm not a doctor, I can't evaluate every person, but it seemed like everyone was okay. But if you want to do more than just donate, you want to get a super cute tote bag. We sell these at the market, $25. Not only do they have adorable images of fruits and vegetables, but they have Shandaken Catskill things, like a fire tower, and a fly fishing person, and a bear. So if you think this is adorable and you want to carry it around town with all your stuff, and I have random things in here, but if you imagine, the big leafy greens billowing out the top, or your towel to go to the swimming hole, then please buy that. And that means that $10 will go to our market. So we appreciate you. And lastly, I wanted to let everyone know that we do have limited number, but we have coupons for veterans at our info booth. So if people come to the market, come see us at the info booth, and we have those coupons, Fresh Connect checks to give to veterans. They can also get more by contacting the Ulster County Office of Veterans Affairs, but I got these with our local VA, Legion. And then next month, I haven't been given the exact date yet, we'll be getting the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program coupons at the market through the Office of the Aging, so we'll make a post about that when those are available. And those are also limited quantity, unfortunately, so it's recommended to come early. But it won't be this weekend, I think, but probably in the next week or two we'll see those coupons. So great. I think that's it. And yeah, as Beth said, the Tiffin is next weekend, and because it's at a farmer's market and it's not an event that's just for this, they did say, I'll just add on, that you can just walk up and you register. You can register on site. So they want to know how many people are coming just so they can plan for it, but if you haven't registered, don't let that stop you from coming. Yeah. Yes, not this coming Sunday, next Sunday. Yes. Oh, and then one last thing at the market this Sunday, sort of in response to what happened yesterday, which was really depressing and scary. This Sunday, we're encouraging everyone to come out with a picnic blanket. Come picnic at the market. Not only are we recovering from that harrowing experience, it is my birthday. So encouraging everyone to just come make it a little party. We'll have live music and food. So yeah, July 7th, come have a ball with us, a picnic ball.
Thanks, Sophie.
I'm here as your volunteer community engagement coordinator tonight to remind everybody that the town is working with the MARC project to apply for a Main Street rehabilitation grant, and I'm helping MARC or coordinate that with the community, and I'm happy to say that the 8 property owners
who participated in the first round of design and thinking about what they wanted to do have all signed commitment letters for doing the work. So this is really exciting and very unusual. And the town will be submitting this proposal to the Housing Community Renewal Agency with Mark's help by July 31st. So I just wanted to mention it tonight. Since we won't see you. Yeah, fingers crossed. There were $3.5 million worth of work to be done. Obviously, it's not going to be on that scale. It's going to be much smaller, but it's a start. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Jan.
The project is rehabilitation of vacant commercial properties that have commercial capacity. So these are all properties on Main Street where there's a chance of having some kind of commercial activity going on, new stores, new things like that, or facade improvements.
Is that specifically for Pine Hill?
It's only for Pine Hill this round.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jan.
I'm Vivian Welton. I live on Plank Road, a mile east of Main Street, Phoenicia. And this is Maya Lilly. She lives on Plank Road between my place and Main Street. So she's just outside the speed limit change from 30 to presumably 55 because there's no other speed limit signs. Maya had presented the proposal to the town that the speed limit zone of 30 be extended past her house because there are people living within that stretch that are not protected, who have children, pets, and there have been accidents and fatalities to pets. So the town in April made a resolution requesting that the county extend the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit past Maya's house. And we're wondering if there's any communication from the county, whether they're entertaining that, whether there's been any action. That's the first thing. So you can respond.
I haven't heard anything from Dennis or anybody from the county.
You're dealing with Dennis Doyle?
I sent it to Dennis and DPW, but
Okay.
I periodically attend the Ulster Transportation, I forget the rest of that acronym, and I don't believe that's come up, but also something else that we had discussed took 2.5 years before it came onto the agenda, so I'll be honest.
it's not a quick turnover for speed
And
limit
so,
changes.
so speaking of 2.5 years ago, the reduction of the entire Plank Road speed limit to 45 is what I had contacted the town board to suggest that we make a resolution about that.
Right.
I imagine that didn't really get any farther. But today I noticed they had posted signs with those square signs, yellow, with an arrow pointing in the direction of the upcoming turn and with a mile-per-hour number.
Well, that
The
sign's
suggested-
always been there.
There's
I mean,
5 of them now.
but they've been there for quite a long time. As you go from Phoenicia to 212,
Yes.
around different corners, you'll see 40.
always been there.
They've always been
But
like
they-
cautionary
They look
curve.
very new. But I'm just wondering, is that enforceable? Is that an actual speed limit when you see that? Or is
No,
that-
it's a caution sign.
Okay, so that doesn't take the place of an
No.
actual speed limit change?
No.
And, there's one curve that's very dangerous coming towards Phoenicia, which is the blind turn that ends up in the Trailhead parking lot of Mount Tremper Trail, and there's no caution sign in front of that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, the other dangerous curve is right near where Mount Tremper Arts is
Yeah.
or was, and
Yeah.
that's a very, when somebody's coming out of that parking driveway, it's just crazy.
So, since people aren't legally required to obey that, and I'm getting different people taking different things, but if you're all sure that it's not enforceable, I guess this would be the town police or state troopers or county sheriff, if they're not gonna give out tickets for violating suggestions, then I would like the town board to consider asking the county again for lowering the speed limit. And for cyclists to get off the road. If there's oncoming traffic, the person that's overtaking the cyclist in their lane cannot move, then they would have to stop suddenly.
That's the law. They have to yield.
They have to yield.
Yeah.
But if they're going 55 or higher, they're not going to be able to stop in time because the blind turn will be, prevent them from seeing them in time.
Yep.
That's the main reason, and this is not just cyclists, it's pedestrians.
Of course,
people who
of
walk.
course.
Today I was coming around towards Main Street as that turn, and there was a woman in the road who was being assisted by someone else, and there were two abreast. If there was an oncoming car, I would have had to stop short because they were right in the road,
Yeah.
and that was on Main Street, before the parish hall, where there's houses. But that's enough.
On foot?
On foot, yeah. Two people walking abreast, but they had no other place else to walk.
Yeah.
You're walking into town, you don't always have a car, And I'm thinking, and I know that the same town board meeting in April where you had the resolution to lower the speed limit, to extend the speed limit from Main Street, you also had a resolution to accept the request by the Manitou's Revenge Trail Run race. And Manitou's Revenge is 52 miles through the high peaks of Shandaken, the worst trails they could find. They have a 23-hour cutoff. You have to finish this course in 23 hours. And I would say the majority of the runners are running down from the Mount Tremper trailhead into Phoenicia in the dark. They're provided headlamps and safety vests, but it's dark. And this was last weekend. They run right past my house, and it started raining. It started pouring right in the middle of them finishing the race. And God forbid a car would come and be drunk. It was, Saturday night. And it's really scary. And I love to see these runners do it, but they need some accommodation as far as traffic control. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. And another thing is you've got packs of cyclists, the racing type cyclists who are working out, and they come right down Plank Road. That's a lot of people together.
You could poke at Dennis when you see him next.
I don't see him.
Oh, you
I'm
don't see
the
him.
alternate now.
Okay.
So Chandra's been going. I could call him, I guess. Yeah.
And I'll just add one thing. I've only been here a year, but people blow right past that speed limit. So it's not just that they stick to 45 to 55. Like they're often going 60, and it's usually the big trucks that are doing it.
Yeah.
I've lost his beloved pet. The previous owner lost her beloved pet. The kids are so close to the road, and there's so many sets of kids right next to me that it looks concerning, especially because there is no, bumper at all.
Right. And there's really there's an accident. And there have been fatal, maybe not fatal, but serious injury accidents on Plank Road. There was a head-on collision a few years ago, and a town resident was seriously injured. Two other people that were not town residents were more seriously injured. And I'm concerned that it's just not a safe road in general. People can get out of control, and there's no, if they go over the guardrail, they're in either the Sophus Creek down cliff, or they're in the ditch by the retaining wall, and cars one thing, but bicyclists and
That's never happened.
No, I don't
All
mean that
these years I've been up here,
particular
35 years, nobody's landed in the creek. Not saying that it can't ever happen.
Live to tell the tale.
Pete's
Thank
point
you.
is that we don't have any control, but we'd probably be happy to reach out to the county again and pressure them.
I would appreciate
Absolutely
that, yes.
what I was going to say.
Okay. That's the most you can do, really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Dennis, and I think that it's a little bit more timing-wise since that fatal accident on Route 28, which is another story. And yet there are now leafy shrubbery type weeds that are blocking the view coming off of 212 onto Route 28. And where the bridge starts with the guardrail, there's actually growth that's covering the guardrail at that corner. And I'm sure anybody in the town highway department can do that. I mean, obviously it's not a town, well, I don't know, 212 is
State.
a state road.
State and state.
Okay, so I mean, technically it's their responsibility, but it's dangerous. But
Thank you.
I think we
Good night, Sam. We're going to open an executive session. I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session. You all can stay and come back, or we can go and come back. Because we're just...
Good night.
So if we could have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's recording, you just can't get it to go out.
I never heard of the CRESP funding.
It's basically,
We're good to go?
Yeah, we're gonna go.
the aid that the senators direct.
Oh.
It's like, it's sometimes called bullet aid. I think
Okay.
the term's gone now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But like,
Okay.
it's the random slush money that they
Right.
have to put around
Oh.
for reasons that are unclear.
Right. Welcome back. We're reopening the regular meeting. And we're going to adjourn in memory of Susan Marchanzi. Make the motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone, and have a happy Independence Day.